Welcome back to The Big Show. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of my favourite people, and one of my favourite comedians is Tim Vine. How are you?
Very well. How are you?
You exhaust me, let me be honest with you.
Well, I'm sorry about that. I thought we were going to keep that private.
I'll tell you what it is with you. You could start a conference with your head. You've got so much going on, haven't you?
Well, no, I know. I don't have a very busy sort of thought life. No, you're wrong. I sort of do it at certain points. I sort of think about jokes and things, and then I think about other things. I wander into the garden and look at spiders.
You just said, by the way, I'm wrong. I can't remember a point in the past where I have been wrong. Are you sure about that?
Well, I think, listen, I think you are wrong. But we've only met 3 times and never face to face, so it's hard to know.
It is really, isn't it? Congratulations on your recent win of the funniest joke ever in the history of the world. I think that's what it was, wasn't it?
It was something like that, yeah. And there was a piece in Private Eye about it taking the mickey, apparently, calling me Timothy Gag or something. Is he the funniest man ever or something? Which I was quite proud of the fact that it was worth mentioning. Dare
I say this, because I don't want to offend you early on, but I've watched a lot of you over the years, and frankly, that isn't your funniest joke.
Well, I completely agree with you. Now in this case, you're right. You're absolutely right. It wasn't the funniest joke in the show I was doing, but I think what they did was they chose one joke and then the audience voted. So I don't know. I totally agree with you. I've got funnier ones in the act that I was doing. When I start, I go manatees. Well, that's the formalities over with. I mean, I think that's a funnier joke.
I tell you what I love about your DVDs. I sit there watching them, and I kind of watch them in half-hour segments. You can almost laugh too much, can't you?
Yeah, well, I suppose you probably can. Yeah, well, hyperventilating, you mean? You mean just too much of a good thing?
Yeah,
actually, I heard about someone who was terminally ill. Sorry to lighten the mood at this point. He was ill, and his doctor. This isn't a joke, by the way. This is true. His doctor said that he was that was it. He was going to die, and so he went home and he hired out all the Marx Brothers films, and he watched and laughed and laughed and laughed, and he found that 10 minutes of hearty laughter gave him 2 hours relief of pain. So I think it's possible to. I'm not sure you can laugh too much, really, unless you pull a rib.
It's interesting. I mean, you seem to be a psychologist as much as a comedian with the way you talk about your humour, which is nice.
Well, is that nice or just dull? I refuse to work in a coal mine. It's beneath me.
I was going to say, could you try being funny a bit? We've got 15 minutes to fill here. Who are the people who inspired you? Because there aren't many who have that kind of Rolodex of gags like you. There's Doddy I can think of. Bob Monkhouse had it. It's a certain skill, isn't it? One I greatly admire. Yeah,
I don't know whether it's Yeah, I always think that I do lots of short jokes because I'm scared of waiting for the next laugh. So it's sort of, I didn't think to myself early on, right, short jokes are my thing. It just that's the way it turned out. So maybe, although Doddy doesn't seem like a particularly nervous performer, does he? Or Bob Monkhouse didn't either. So maybe I did it for nerves and they did it for other reasons.
Let's do a proper interview this time. What were you like as a child?
Shorter. I remember the first thing my mum said to me when I was born. She said, I was expecting you. Do you know if you dangle a needle over a pregnant woman's stomach and it goes round and round, it means she's going to have a girl. And if it goes side to side, it means she's going to have a boy. And if it gets pulled downwards, it means she's going to have a magnet. Listen, you should interview me more often. I don't get laughed like this off an entire audience.
No, you can't do this to me. I'm exhausted already. Let me try again. What were you like as a child?
Well, I tell you what, I was very into the Muppets. So, my hands were. I used to do puppets and stuff. I used to do little puppet shows when I was about 10. So that was my kind of first interest in sort of showbiz, as it were, and entertaining people with little puppet shows. And then I wrote little plays when I was 12 and used to put them on at school and stuff. And then I got to my 20s, so it's no longer child. So you better ask me another question relating to child.
Well, it's interesting about your funny bone. I'm a big fan of a gag man. I love a punchline. That seems to be out now. I'm glad that you haven't changed.
Knock yourself out. There's a punchline.
But you stick by it, don't you, doing this kind of act?
Yeah, well, I've painted myself into a bit of a corner now. If people turn up, if 700 people turn up to watch me and I come out and do contemporary dance, I think they're going to want their money back.
I would actually pay good money to see that. What are your legs like, Tim Vine?
Well, it's funny you should say that. I once did pantomime with Susan Hampshire, and she said I had very nice legs. She said they're very straight.
Really?
Yeah.
Very nice. Are you going to be doing panto again?
She's also into stilts. Yeah, I'm doing panto this year with Brian Blessed, so I've got the earplugs ready.
Very nice. Why does he need to do all that?
I thought you'd fallen off something there. I think that's the way he speaks, isn't it? His mouth is shaped in such a way it's made for volume.
Where are you performing?
Richmond Theatre.
Very nice.
I remember I said to my mum, I said, I'm going to buy a theatre. She said, "Are you having me on?" I said, "I'll give you an audition, but I can't promise." I said, "I just got a job in a bowling alley." She said, "Temping?" I said, "No, it's a permanent job." Occasionally I am a victim of that because of the sort of jokes that I write, that they do get stolen, you know.
Do you take it personally?
No, I take it professionally. And personally. I don't know if you can take it personally. I mean, I used to get quite upset about that.
How do you go down in the clubs? I mean, do you do the jongleurs and things like that?
I don't do clubs so much now. No, I used to do some of that. But now I tend to do little tours. So in a way it's easier because people have come along to see me, and in a way it's harder because I've got to write an hour and 15 minutes or something each time I go out for it, you know.
I worry about those clubs because they've actually got to pay attention and got to be able to hear you. There's a lot of heckling and stuff like that, and with the speed in which you deliver, that can get in the way, can't it?
Mr. Pecan, Mr. Pistachio, Mr. Cashew, what are you, nuts? Yes, it can do, yeah. But I found at the time I had a very, very tight 20-minute set. I mean, I struggle a bit now doing that now because it's those places are very much make me laugh, you know. The people sit there and they give you a look as if to say, this better be, you know, so you've got to capture them straight away. But when you're doing that 4 or 5 nights a week, you get this very tight 20 minutes. I've got a joke book coming out, you know.
I was just going to mention that. It's called the biggest ever Tim Vine joke book.
Yes.
And I'm just struggling with the picture on the front of it.
That's me.
Is that good for getting the ladies?
A trumpet under my arm. Whatever you do, don't blow it. I've got deep vein trombonist.
Is your face an aid or is that a disadvantage?
I was born with that. My faith is where I keep my eyes, my nose, and my mouth. It's I don't know. I mean, are you looking at the same book as me? I've seen worse pictures of me.
Well, I don't know.
You've got it up the right way.
You've got quite a nose, haven't you, for a start? Let's talk about that.
I have got quite a nose. I used to be quite sensitive about that, but you'll be pleased to hear I'm not anymore. When I was at school, I was. Dr. Hook, what a guitarist. Mind you, he got through a lot of strings. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think you have to be incredibly handsome. I've never had to defend my looks before.
I knew this would be a first for you, this interview.
I think it's good if you've got a bit of a funny look, isn't it?
Well, it helps with comedy. Can we turn to the back page of the book?
Yes.
There's not much going on there in the frolic department, is there? Why have you got strands that are about 27 inches covering the rest of it?
It's a very good point. It looks like a comb forward, doesn't it? Do you know what? These pictures were taken actually in my house, and I didn't think to have a haircut beforehand. But you're right, I look a bit like someone who used to be an accountant and now he's a tramp.
Feel free to make any personal comments about me. I can take it.
Well, I can't see you.
It's a good thing.
But my hair's been receding for some time, and that's going back a long way. If you want a crew cut, was only me. That's it. Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you.
I love that I can give you almost any subject.
Yes, try that. That's a good idea. Give me a subject.
Curtains.
Of course, that's a bit of a drawback.
How about pull yourself together? There must be a gag there.
Well, that's an old one, isn't it? Yeah. But,
all right. No, well, it's all right for you to nick other people's as long as they don't nick yours.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. You give me a subject. I'll do one of mine. You do one that you just think you've heard somewhere.
An Englishman, an Irishman. Okay, scrambled eggs. Tell me a joke about that.
Scrambled egg. Well, scrambled egg. I did crack one earlier, but this is easier than it should be. You should be going, no, that's not good enough.
Ironing. Tell me something about ironing.
Nothing. Right, press on.
I'm just wondering, you see, whether A, you'd written your book, and B, whether you've actually read it, because I've had 2 people on this week already who've done neither.
Well, I can confirm every single one of these jokes I wrote. I mean, it's obvious I did, isn't it? Some of them are rubbish. And look at the drawing. I mean, blimey, you wouldn't get you'd want your money back. You've got an illustrator to do that, wouldn't you?
Let's do something serious now, because I need headlines for the Sun newspaper.
Do you? Right, okay.
I need to find out that you're dark and that you're depressed and you were beaten up as a child for being too deeply unattractive with a large nose, something like that.
Well, my mother, I tell you this, my mother used to beat me with the telephone. I was always on the receiving end. The phone rang. I picked it up. I said, "Who's speaking, please?" And the voice said, "You are." No, I had a happy upbringing, I'm afraid. So no drama there.
Did you get on with your brother?
Very well, yeah. Hi, this is Jerry Vine, Radio 2. Hi.
Have you ever wished that you had a good voice?
God, blimey, my voice is terrible. My nose is all over the place. Why did I turn up? I tell you what, if it wasn't for the laughs, I would have left by now. He loves it, yeah. I mean, I do. It does make me laugh sometimes with the subjects that they talk about, because of course they've got to do about 4 a day for every weekday of the year. So you can turn on, they're talking about something quite ludicrous, There can be something serious about the coalition government, followed by, why is it you don't see so many vases nowadays? Like
Let's talk about net curtains for the next hour.
Yes. Have you got VAT on them?
How does your family feel about the fact that you're, forgive me for this, but you're kind of the clown and
I have to walk in sideways because of my nose? Is that what you're going to say?
How do they feel about the fact that you do funny for a living and he does serious?
I think they like it. I mean, you know what it's like with parents. Have you got parents? Tell me they're still alive.
Yeah, they are. That could have been very uncomfortable.
That could have been terrible. Yeah, thank goodness for that. Yeah. Well, listen, parents are proud of you, whatever you do, aren't they? So they.
I don't know whether Hitler's mother would have said the same, but
well, that's true. Did you know actually he went to Butlins? Do you know that? Yeah, he wrote a book about it. It was called Mine Holiday Camp.
Let me tell you a story, right? I had Dom Jolly on the programme, and I love nicking other people's gags, right? And
I'll stop telling them then.
There's the least funny man you've ever met, Dom Jolly, and I tried for 8 minutes, right, to make him laugh or for him to make me laugh. It didn't happen on either side. And he was telling me how he'd written this book and he'd gone to Chernobyl. And I said, oh, are they now opening that as a holiday camp and it's going to have the Chernobylese contest?
Yes, I know the man who wrote that, Dan Evans.
Right. I think it's a brilliant joke.
Brilliant joke.
Not a laugh. Now, you'd have thought out of courtesy, you could have just at least a titter, a smile, or even say, you nicked that off somebody, didn't you? Nothing. I don't like funny people that resent being funny. Have you noticed that a lot in comedy?
I have not noticed that. No, I don't know. Do you know what I think it is sometimes? I mean, I like doing these sort of things because my jokes are so short that if you ask me a question, I can just chuck something at you. But I mean, if you've got a kind of comedy style that requires dressing up as a beaver and running past the window of a swimming pool, it's a bit hard to do it in an interview, isn't it? So I've got some sympathy for Dom Jolly. You can't really do it there and then, can he?
No, good point. Yeah, all right. Listen, congratulations on this new book. It's been lovely talking to you. Before we go, tell me about Bob Moncas, because I know he was a big fan of yours, wasn't he?
Well, I don't know whether he was a big fan, but he did a couple of things that was just very supportive. I did a week on Jack Doherty's show. I hosted it for a week, and he faxed over some jokes in my style and said, here, you can have some of these if you like.
Lovely. And he said of you, he has taken the trick of wordplay and extended it to lengths no one else has dared before. A very funny man.
I actually wanted that quote on the book, but I was told that might make it seem a bit too grown up. But that's a great quote, isn't it?
It's lovely.
Yeah.
I love you very much, and keep being funny. And I'm sorry about the personal insults. I didn't mean
Not at all. I'm straight off to get a rhinoplasty. A job in a zoo or something. What is wrong with that picture on the front? I'm looking at it. I can't see what's wrong with it.
What about joining a circus?
Well, I'm up for that. I could do that. Trapezier said and done, but I could have a go.
There's nothing I could catch you out with. Thank you very much. Tim Vine is the star of the new book, the biggest ever Tim Vine joke book. There's DVDs out as well. Have you got a new one out?
I've got a new one coming out at the end of the year called Punslinger.
Very good.
I'm dressed as a cowboy. I come on and I say I'm going to start with the cowboy jokes. I've got 7 and they're magnificent. And I carry on like that for an hour.
And in that picture, you actually look half normal.
Well, you could argue I look too cool in that picture for comedy.
What is it with you not liking the fact that you could be a dashingly handsome man who could actually have a sensible career?
Well, let's do that first. Let's get this rubbish out of the way first. Let's do that later. I'll have the serious acting career later, but let's do get all the puns out of my system.
Tim Vine, good to talk to you. Say hello to Jeremy for me and ask him to be less good so I can have more listeners. That'd be nice.
Bullcock. I'm glad I got that out of my system.
Any more?
Any more jokes?
Yes. We run out.
Velcro, what a rip-off. 3 cheers for rap music. Hip-hop.
Oh, by the way, what was the funniest joke? We never actually got round to it, did we?
Oh, yeah. What was it? It was... I've forgotten. I've just been on a once-in-a-lifetime holiday. I tell you what, never again.
See, only a small titter there.
Yeah, only a little one. That award has killed that joke off. I can't do it anymore.
Tim Vine, good luck with everything, and enjoy Panto, and good luck with the book and the DVD. Merchandise, which will mean it'll be a very, very happy Christmas for you, making tons of money.
Well, 3 bars of soap for £1. That's a good buy.
See you later.
Bye.